follow your passions in life. You got to do what makes you happy. You got to do what feels right in your soul. Your soul has a meter within it. It'll you'll be able to feel what's right and wrong for you within your heart. Don't ever second guess that feeling. There's a reason why, like, there's that saying, like, oh, I felt it in my gut. You know what I mean? That's because that's your soul telling you that, like, it was right, wrong. You know what I mean? You gotta you gotta do what's right, but it's very important that you follow what you're passionate about in life. Everyone's different. We all have different DNA. We all have different experiences. Like, we literally are all unique from each other. It's very fascinating. We all have different filters. We all literally have our own perceptions in life. Everyone sees the world in a different way. If you ask anyone, like, a bunch of questions, like, endlessly about, like, a whole line of subjects, you're gonna get arrays of answers and perceptions. Like, people just see things differently. It's just how they grow up. What's their genetic makeup has something to do with it, like nature versus nurture thing, right? So, like, we're all meant to do something. Like, I strongly believe that we all have a purpose. It's so fascinating and insane how, like, intricate, like, life is, and just, like, man, like, it's so deep, like, so many layers. But if you don't like follow your passion in life, you'll become bitter. Like, if you just go work a job and just follow paycheck, like, oh, the money sign on it, like, I got to do that, or I got to do what my mom told me, I got to do what my teacher told me. I'm here to tell you that you're doing it wrong. You got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do what you're passionate about, or else you're going to become bitter in life. You're going to lose. It's going to be harder to stay positive. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much easier to be positive whenever you're you don't wake up every day. Maybe, like, I understand. Listen, I'm 35. I've worked my whole life. I've worked endless jobs. I think I counted like 20 jobs the one day. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but I went to college, so, like, there were times, and when I was young, like, I went through a lot of jobs, from construction to landscaping. I worked in 3 different subways. I worked in restaurants. I was dishwashers. Um, I was a lot. I worked at a library at one point. I worked through many different landscaping and a few different construction places. Different gas stations. I know I could go on. I just I don't. I gotta stop. I'm rambling, but you get the picture. And I worked in a warehouse for like 9 years. I worked in my last job I had for 9 years in a warehouse, and I've always worked. I worked at Circuit City Electronics. I sold home audio. Um yeah, you get the point. I know that I know that I feel like there's more too, but um so what was my point of that? So I understand you got to do what you got to do. I sold shoes at one point, um, but I understand you got to do what you got to do. I got a daughter. I got a wife. Um, you gotta sometimes you gotta, like, just work and, like, but there's ways out of the matrix. You know what I mean? You can figure it out. Like, uh, man, like, people that are really developed wealth, they don't trade hours for paychecks. They're trading value for their money. You know what I mean? Like, they once you if you could make a bunch of money, and know the right things to do, like, you could make a lot of money and not have to sit here and trade hours your whole life. You know what I mean? But regardless, like, it might be your passion to be trade hours. You know what I mean? So it might be your passion to be a teacher. You know what I mean? Like don't just follow money. You know what I mean? But there's ways that if your passion doesn't pay enough, there's ways to know what to do with your money, invest and whatnot to make a lot more money out of whatever you're making, to not have to worry about that. You know what I mean? That that's something I'm one of my passions is like is trading, but there but that's a whole nother subject. But so yeah. So, but you got to follow your like passions. That's not just a money thing. You got to follow your passions and everything in life, hobbies. You know what I mean? Your passions, weightlifting. You know what I mean? Your passions, whatever. But like, don't just do what people tell you to do. Is a big point of this. And then not follow your passions and do just because get caught up in doing what you think you're supposed to do because someone else told you to do it. You know what I mean? But it's not what you really want to do. And I'm not talking about like going out there and doing like bad stuff and whatnot. I'm saying within reason. You know what I mean? You got to be a respectable person. If you're a man, you got to be a man. For your family, you gotta. I believe in all that. Like I have good like work ethic and all that stuff. Like I'm not saying like just your passions to do nothing. You know what I mean? Or your passions to like hurt people or something like that. I'm not saying stuff like that. I'm saying like positive passions. You know what I mean? Because in my mind, I can't fathom how like how your passion could be like evil. You know what I mean? Like you gotta, if you really start training your brain to think positive and just I don't know, develop good relationships, you're gonna have a good heart. I just see I just I don't know. I think everyone has good in them. You know what I mean? I understand there's definitely bad people out there, but for the most part, I'm talking to all the good people out there. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So yeah, just don't let yourself become bitter in life. That's something that I kind of did like working. I mean I love the work and whatnot, but like I kind of just like my last work environment was like real negative. It was just like some of the people there, but like just the way they treated you. Like for one example, it was all union. So I got on my own on my wedding. They were trying to force me out to work. They knew it was my wedding. I had all my personal days, like, and I only needed one. I had all 5 of them, and I tried to schedule it at the earliest I could at the beginning of the year, like when they first opened the book. And the way the seniority worked out, and my wedding was already scheduled. The way the seniority worked out, there were like people above me already. My wedding was like 2 days after the 4th of July, and yeah, it was right after the 4th of July, and so it was right after the 4th of July. So there was holiday pay involved, you know what I mean? Like because I had to work like it was my next scheduled day because like I had a Sunday night start. I worked Sunday, Thursday, and then I ended up getting Friday off. And then like I said, I'd work 6 to 7 days a week every week, like 12, 16 hours sometimes 80 hours a week. Like I used to work so much, it was crazy. They'd take advantage of me like crazy. Like I'd be doing all kinds of like do all kinds of extra work that wasn't my job and still get treated like crap, forced on your wedding and never handed a favor ever. You know what I mean? Like develop some bitterness, and then I'm just like I can't like a whole life this and I wasn't passionate about that. So um but yeah, so on my wedding it was like it was they I tried to schedule it, they told me I couldn't, and then they forced me out during my wedding, knowing that I had a wedding, I was gonna have to call off. So then it forced me to call off, and then which for it was the same thing. I tried to schedule that day off, but like, and if I would have scheduled it, I wouldn't have lost my holiday pay. You know what I mean? Because that's just the way that our contract set up. So I had it all planned. like it was like a game of chess. They never knew what they were doing. They were taking my holiday pay. You know what I mean? Like they refused to cut me any slack, forced me out, forced me to do a straight call off. Now it's not a scheduled sick day. It's a call off now. So now I called off, like, and it messes with my holiday pay, like the way our contract's set up. It's all like this lawyer thing going on, like where you got to find, like, everyone's getting forced, like, in trying to find loopholes with job, like everyone was just trying to screw each other, find ways to screw each other all the time because they're getting screwed so much, getting forced so many hours, 60, 80 hours a week, because they're so understaffed, because no one wants to work there, because they treat everyone like, they just do stuff like what I just said, and just like are really heartless, whatever. I mean, boo-hoo, like that's work or whatever, but stuff like that builds on you, and it's just like, hey, well, I don't want to do so many favors for you anymore when you're calling around. So now I'm just, it almost forced me to become like tone myself down to, like, I don't want to do too much work and do you too many favors, like I know I'm in the union, like that's the mindset. That's what ends up happening to a lot of union people. They get screwed so much with messed up roles and stuff. They're just like, I'll do bare minimum work to where I know in the contract, like, this is what I have to do. I'm not doing anything extra. And then no one, like, because there's no advancement. Like, I'm in the union, it's just skate by. Like, I just couldn't stand that environment. Like, no room for growth. You know what I mean? No room, like, just a life of find loopholes in contracts, and don't not trying to not get screwed on, like, your weddings and stuff, you know. So like, but like, I don't, that I just did it for so long because that's what I'm supposed to do. Now they're thinking, like, like, what about, like, everyone telling everyone, like, you have to go to like college. Like, a lot of times the best path in life is gonna be something that, like, no one's gonna tell you your best path in life, because, like, it's not going to be so obvious. It's going to end up coming to you, like, I don't know. It took me a while to, like, find my path, that, like, I find my passion, you know what I mean? And it just kind of happened. But, like, because I just followed what everyone wanted me to do. I went to college because that's what my mom said. Oh, everyone needs a degree. It's like the scam that they had going on. Everyone needs a degree. You know what I mean? Like, for everything. You know what I mean? I went for business management. Like, you don't even need a degree for business management for all. Like, I went to college for nothing, and I'm in a bunch of debt, paid a lot of loans for nothing because my mom didn't pay that. So, uh, like, yeah, I mean, I'm my own man. Like, I'm not. My mom's not rich. You know what I mean? My mom was just doing what she thought, because that's just society. They trick us. Like, we're like pawns, like that. Like, they just, like, move around and just try to take like, especially the middle class, their money for everything they can, any way they can. You know what I mean? Everyone needs a degree. Like, I agree, people need degrees for certain things, like, like doctors, lawyers, uh, very specific things, like, that you need degrees for. Like, and then there's a lot of things that you don't, and a lot of people are going to college, like, for nothing really. I think, like, like, a lot of the education system's like a scam. You know what I mean? You could make a lot of money without ever going to college. Trust me. Like, you just got to know business and people, and just know, I don't know. There's a lot to, like, finances that they don't teach people in school, and I don't think they want to teach people in school, because people they are so manipulated. Like, society is so manipulated by the people at the top. You know, the people with the power. They're moving. They're playing us like chess. So, and we're just pawns. And but if you make it to the other side of that chessboard, right? What happens? You could trade your pawn for anything. You might be able to trade your pawn for that queen. You know what I mean? That got took. So, but you gotta really you're just a pawn in life. You know what I mean? You gotta you're gonna have a hard road, like, maneuvering around these queens and bishops and trying to get to the other side of that board to trade your piece. But that's where experience comes along the way, you know, and that's how you develop that piece. So, make the right choices in a positive mind. If you just focus on positivity and a lot of the things that you're gonna have to do aren't so easy, you know what I mean? Like, but that's what causes growth. Like the easy way doesn't. You don't grow that way. You're just gonna stay like a baby your whole life, for real. If you don't go through something, you're just a baby in life, basically. You know what I mean? Figuratively, with all due respect. But you gotta grow. So, yeah, on that there.